With the solar system set and the planet of Aether prepped, the time had come for life to populate the world. Aet, in his careful creation of his children, gave them many gifts and powers, but did not give them the ability to create life on their own, for he feared what they might create with such power. And so, it took all three to develop life. Aet and his children first took hold of the energy of Aether, utilizing this energy as the catalyst for creation. Instructed by Aet, Luxaeli and Inferberus took a drop of their own blood and combined it with this energy. From this came the first of life, animals. These animals became the ancestors of all we see today. Unlike their creators, these animals could not exist indefinitely, instead requiring constant refuelment to continue on. Aet worried if hunger may therefore infect these animals, driving them to devour one another. The last being remained would only eat itself. However, Aet saw this was not the case. That instead, these animals took only what they needed. They propagated across the land, embracing the abundance of food both of plant and flesh, existing in a sort of natural order. The three rejoiced at their creations and watched together as these beings evolved and expanded. Inferberus took great interest in the cycle of death these creatures underwent, how they hunted and killed one another to survive. Luxaeli took great interest in the cycle of life these animals underwent, how generations grew and supplanted their parents, only to be supplanted by the next, occupying more and more niches. The two were still young gods and so learned much from their observations of Aether. Eventually, the two came to their father. The children of Aet, while fascinated with the cycle of life and death, had grown to desire more than this simple process. It lacked the tangible ebb and flow that they desired. They had learned all they could of these animals and had seen every process and had discussed what they had learned with each other in great detail. Although hesitant at first, Aet feared angering his two children. He noted their age as similar to that of the age he became restless and volatile. Aet decided to offer his children this. Each of the three gods would choose one species to give greater knowledge to, and these three species would become the new focus of Aether. To this, both Luxaeli and Inferberus happily agreed. Inferberus chose first, picking the Dralum, species of feathers and scales, masters of the sky, and so they gravitated towards the hills and mountains of the world. Luxaeli chose second, picking the Cephalena, species of swarming tentacles and masters of the sea, and so they gravitated to the deep ocean. Finally, Aet chose the Persis, a species of fur and claw, masters of the land, and so they gravitated to the land between these mountains and oceans. So sentience existed on Aether, with the Dralum, Cephalena, and Persis, much to the delight of Inferberus and Luxaeli.